You're going to feel a strange kind of rage, not toward me, but toward everything that was used to keep you trapped without chains. In 12 minutes, I won't promise wealth, a system, or a miracle. I'm going to show you why you destroy everything you build. Why every time you get close to something good, you return to scarcity. Why even when things start working, you implode. And the worst part? You've learned to call that being responsible. You think your problem is discipline, knowledge planning, that you just need to manage your income, cut the waste, earn more. But what you call a financial problem is actually a ritual of emotional punishment. You don't sabotage yourself because you're lazy or stupid. You sabotage yourself because somewhere in your past you learned you can't hold what you don't believe you deserve. And money is just the stage where that trauma screams loudest. It always starts the same way. You achieve something, a raise, a new client, a savings milestone. And then, something slips, an unexpected bill, an emotional outburst, an impulsive expense. You call it bad luck or poor planning. But beneath it is an unconscious contract reenacting itself. The sabotage isn't the mistake, it's the restoration of your core identity. Because success is uncomfortable when you've spent your life feeling like a mistake. And now at the height of your exhaustion, you think the problem is not being able to stay in control. But the real problem is that chaos is the only place you've ever felt at peace. Because chaos is familiar, chaos is home. And until that changes, every attempt at prosperity will be sabotaged by you. Not out of weakness, but out of loyalty to an ancient pain you still call logic. And I can prove it. Not with theory, but with truths more painful than bankruptcy. Truths about your childhood, your guilt, your addiction to falling apart the moment things start to work. Truths that will hurt, but also liberate, if you have the courage not to pause this video. Financial self-sabotage doesn't begin in your bank account. It begins in the mirror. It starts in the way you look at yourself when things go right, with suspicion. When money shows up, something inside you flinches. And that reaction isn't rational, it's ancestral. Because money, for you, was never just currency. It was a sentence. When you have too much, you feel guilt. When you don't, you feel justified. But the most dangerous moment isn't when you're broke. It's when you're close to stability and feel a discomfort you can't explain. As if having enough means betraying your story. And it does. Because part of you still believes pain equals worth. You think you want to prosper. But what you really want is to feel safe. And the only safety you've ever known came from loss. From knowing that everything slips away, that nothing is yours for long. That joy must be moderated, that hope is dangerous. That's why you repeat the same loops. You overspend when you earn. You ignore debts when they could be resolved. You accept less when you deserve more. You anticipate collapse because pain has always been predictable. Sabotage, then, isn't failure. It's a homecoming. It brings you back to the emotional setting where you first learned to exist. In the almost, the never, the endless struggle. And the system knows this better than you. It doesn't profit from your freedom. It profits from your repetition. From your self-abandonment dressed as realism. From your guilt that consumes. From your shame that buys promises. Modern marketing doesn't want your success. It wants your relapse. Because relapse keeps you emotionally dependent. And when you're dependent, you spend. Not to have, but to feel slightly less unworthy. Every installment, every impulsive transaction, every tiny act of sabotage is just you trying to numb the pain of feeling undeserving of your own breakthrough. And as long as you treat this as a budgeting issue, you'll stay trapped in the maze. Because the center of the maze isn't a number, it's a story. And that story needs to be dismantled, not with spreadsheets, but with symbolic courage. Because only those who understand where the cycle began can break it, and you will remember the exact moment, not when you lacked, but when you had and felt afraid. The most dangerous moment in your financial life isn't when everything is falling apart. It's when things finally start to work. Because that's when your emotional system goes into high alert. You begin spending without noticing, forgetting deadlines, undervaluing yourself, making decisions you know don't make sense, and yet you can't stop. Something deeper than logic is driving you. Because for someone who grew up in scarcity, success feels like a threat. It doesn't matter how many books you read or how many courses you take. If your psyche still connects stability with future punishment, you will sabotage it. You'll sabotage it with elegance, with strategy, with perfect justifications, and you'll call it being realistic. You say you want to grow, but deep down, you fear abandoning the only emotional environment you've ever known, the one of eternal struggle. Growing means letting go of the identity that protected you your whole life, the survivor, the one who always finds a way to endure but never to rest, who always solves but never breathes, who lives on the edge because the edge is familiar. When life begins offering more than the bare minimum, something inside you signals danger, and you run back to the old normal. The normal of anxiety, lack, emotional urgency. Not because you want to, but because you need to keep alive the version of you that only knows how to exist in crisis. This is the core truth no one ever told you. All self-sabotage is a form of emotional loyalty. Loyalty to your past, to your pain, to the family narrative that said money brings problems, wealth corrupts, abundance is betrayal. Loyalty to parents who never had it, to friends who stayed behind, to a culture that taught you to distrust those who succeed. You're not afraid of having more. You're afraid of becoming someone you no longer recognize. And so, you'd rather lose what you've earned than betray the pain that shaped you. But this cycle carries a silent cost. Because every time you sabotage, something inside you weakens. Your trust, your vision, your ability to dream. Eventually, sabotage stops being an event and becomes an identity. You stop saying, "I made a mistake." You start saying, "That's just how I am." And in that moment, the system wins, because it's turned your defense into your essence. But the truth still pulses beneath the armor. You weren't born to repeat this story. You were born to end it. You don't realize it, but you're in a secret marriage with loss, and every marriage has rituals. Yours begins with the euphoria of a win, a closed deal, a saved amount, a paid-off debt. The feeling of relief is real, but brief. Because soon after, the invisible movement begins, the need to compensate, to spend what you saved, to reward yourself, to escape. It looks like self-care, but it's actually self-correction, because success pulls you away from the emotional script you've always followed. And when you don't recognize the territory, you instinctively return to the land of pain. That's where you feel whole, even if it's in ruins. Self-sabotage doesn't scream. It whispers. It appears in the decision to postpone that financial call, in the avoidance of checking your balance, in the relief of forgetting a bill, in the random purchase just to feel in control of something. You're not trying to spend, you're trying to reaffirm the internal narrative that says you're not good with money. Because that story, as damaging as it is, protects you from something worse, the fear of power. And with power comes the symbolic responsibility of sustaining a new version of yourself. A version that no longer fits the mask of the virtuous victim. And this is the moment where everything becomes clear. What you fear isn't failure, it's freedom. Because freedom demands presence. It demands emotional maturity. It requires leaving survival mode and stepping into the unknown space of self-responsibility. The hollow silence of no longer having anyone else to blame. Not your past, not your parents, not the system. True freedom is an internal rupture. And if you're not prepared for it, you'll build your own prison, with bills, distractions, and scarcity stories. Breaking the sabotage cycle isn't about setting better goals. It's about burying old beliefs. Beliefs that tell you you're not allowed to have, that it's dangerous to relax, that it's selfish to win, that it's wrong to keep what you've earned. These weren't beliefs you chose, right? They were installed by culture, by pain, by repetition. But now you know. And knowing comes with a cost. You can no longer hide behind ignorance. From here on, every act of sabotage will be seen for what it really is, a renewed contract with the pain you were born into. And you'll have to choose with symbolic courage whether to keep signing or finally tear it up. You were programmed to confuse stability with threat. Every financial cycle, you repeat the same pattern. You start focused, you budget, you cut back, you commit. And just as results begin to appear, the quiet unraveling begins. Small indulgences, deserved rewards, promises to make up for it later. You tell yourself, this time is different, but something tightens in your chest. As if abundance were too temporary to trust, as if success were too fragile to relax into. And it is. Not because it truly is, but because you never had the emotional structure to sustain it. You grew up in a place where calm always came before the storm, where joy was always followed by loss, and you learned to anticipate loss as protection. This is the invisible code of self-sabotage. It's not about money. It's about avoiding the trauma of being disappointed again. Because when you destroy what you built, the pain is smaller, it's manageable, familiar. You already know how to deal with it. But when the world takes from you something you loved, that pain is unbearable. So you'd rather control the fall than risk being knocked down. You want to thrive, but you can't stand the idea of trust. And prosperity without trust is a prison disguised as progress. You pretend to move forward, but you circle. You pretend to grow, but always return to the same point, the pain you call home, and the market watches quietly. It knows you'll return. That deep down you won't hold on. That's why it doesn't just sell you products. It sells you relief between collapses. It sells you guilt anesthetics. It sells distraction dressed as goals. The modern system doesn't want you empowered. It wants you exhausted enough to depend, guilty enough to obey, wounded enough to buy hope instead of facing truth. You are afraid of getting it right. And that fear is shaping every decision you make, even the ones that look smart. You'll keep sabotaging until you break this emotional code, until you realize that sustaining is a skill, that deserving isn't about effort, it's about presence, that the real challenge isn't winning, it's staying. And staying demands a symbolic strength you won't find in spreadsheets, podcasts, or courses. That strength lives in your ability to not run when things start going well. Because that exact moment, when everything's working, is when your oldest pain returns, begging to be felt before it destroys everything again. There comes a moment when sabotage stops being a choice and becomes a reflex. You no longer think, you repeat. Automatically, unconsciously, you sabotage because failure is predictable, and predictability brings comfort. Success doesn't. Success requires a new emotional language, a new way of being in the world, and that's terrifying. Because it means unlearning what kept you alive until now. It means abandoning the version of yourself who survives through collapse. You're not afraid to try, you're afraid to succeed. Because if it works, if it actually holds, you won't know who you are anymore. And the loss of identity is a deeper pain than any financial setback. You've spent your whole life preparing not to break, but no one ever taught you how to sustain. And that's where collapse happens, in the quiet space between achievement and permanence. You've learned how to earn, through pain, through sacrifice, through grit. But staying? That requires a kind of peace you've never known. And so you reject it. Money enters and you feel an urge to move it. Stability arrives and you feel the need to stir it up. Abundance appears and you search for the next emergency, as if the silence of calm were too unbearable to withstand. Because in that silence, your truth starts to scream. You never feared failure, you feared surviving it. You called it responsibility. You wore guilt like a badge. But beneath it was a code, a loop designed to implode the moment you touch light. Now you see it, the pattern, the sabotage, the inherited script, and you decide, no more, not this time, not this version of you. Enter the map of occult reprogramming and cut the loop at its sacred root. Breaking the sabotage cycle isn't about setting bigger goals. It's about burying older beliefs. Beliefs that say you're not allowed to have, that relaxing is dangerous, that winning is selfish, that keeping is wrong. These weren't beliefs you chose. They were planted. By culture, by pain, by repetition. But now you know. And knowledge has a price. You can no longer hide behind not knowing. From this point on, every act of sabotage will be seen for what it is, a renewed pact with your original wound. And now you must decide with radical courage whether to keep signing it, or to finally tear it up. Tearing up that pact isn't a financial move. It's a symbolic act. It's telling your past it no longer owns your present. It's allowing yourself to exist outside the character who always crashes at the end. It's accepting that you are allowed to keep what you earn, not because you worked for it, but because you are whole enough to hold it. Because those who learn to sustain peace learn to live without needing chaos. And those who don't need chaos no longer sabotage themselves. The cycle ends when you no longer need to lose in order to feel real. And if you've made it this far, it means you're ready. Tear the pact and stay.